Hey, how's it going? My name is Max. This is Benji from Slenderbodies. We're on tour on our Komorebi tour right now, which was our debut album. Just came out a few weeks ago, and we're going to talk you through our live rig. So the heart of the rig really is these like two big guys that just run an X32 and an S16. Essentially, that's like the brain of the operation. We're running our ears through there, which we use in-ear monitors for everything. We don't use wedges. And then we run all the guitars, all the drum mics directly through there, and then they go to house and are mixed there. We get our ear mixes just as sends. And then we have an interface here that triggers tracks, backing tracks, which is triggered by the drummer using a MIDI keyboard. It's actually, the interesting part about the rig is that we actually use Logic. I know a lot of people use Ableton when shooting in the live rig or playing live, and we actually have figured out a way to set up a bunch of different samplers on Logic that actually works really well for us. We get independent mixes for all our tracks, and it's fun, it's flexible, and like we've been using Logic like growing up, so it's been like the correct kind of course of action for us.
So when we first started touring, we had just a Sapphire, like we literally had an interface, and we were playing along to all tracks. Will is a new addition with backing, or with doing the drums. So when we were first starting out, it was all tracks. The drums were on tracks, bass was on tracks. Many of the guitar layers that we have were on tracks because there's 16 guitar layers in some songs, right? So that was our first tour ever, and we just like were doing it out of duffel bag. Towards the end of the year, we actually got our first like rack space, which consisted of a Voice Live box. We still use the same interface. We still have a Sapphire in there, and then we eventually swapped the Sapphire out and got two Clarets, which we were using for a while last tour.
When we needed more channels, we swapped out and did two Clarets, and then when we eventually upgraded and got an X32 rack, so we used to mix everything in Logic when we were playing live, so we'd actually have like vocal channels and guitar channels that would run into the interface and then come out as separate channels. And eventually we switched to an X32 just to have a little bit more clarity, and then it allows our sound guy to have a little bit more control in the front end. And we were able to shrink the interface back down to 8 channels and just use those for tracks strictly, and all of our live elements are running through the X32, being mixed, processed, and coming out in front. But it is really straightforward. Like our guitars don't really do anything special. It's really just like we give it a good mix, like we put a little bit of like reverb saturation on it just to make it sound nice and full. And then vocals, same idea, just like EQ compressed, reverb. It's all very I guess like very live feeling. Like we're not doing a lot of crazy processing with the effects. It's really about,
we do a lot of blending, you know, so Will will be sitting on top, like in line with some of the drum tracks. At times and of course he'll deviate as well. But I mean, same goes for our guitars. So like I'll be shredding a lick, or Max will be playing the chords, and we'll be blending it with the actual like effects channel that we have on the record, so that you can achieve that the sound that we want.
So the real heart here is the X32. The X32 rack is actually connected by AES behind the back here, and it comes and connects to the S16, which they kind of like work as like a brother-sister pair. Gives us more channels, more flexibility in terms of like being able to have more I/O. So basically this guy runs to this guy, and then we have our interface that's actually running all of our tracks out, and these 8 channels are going into the S16. These are the drum mics that are coming into the S16, also being routed through the X32 and sent out to front of house. And then we have our 3 ear kits that are getting out, sent from the sends here into the ears, and then sent to us, and we each get our own individual ear mix. And that really sums it up. And then we got a drawer with like a little router that allows us to like do everything wirelessly from the front with an iPad.
One of the guitars I'm rocking on this tour is this lovely D'Angelico Deluxe Atlantic. It's one of their, I guess, like professional musician series. But all of their guitars are really lovely. Like the hardware is super solid. The reason I chose this guitar was I was actually in New York City. We were playing some shows, and they let me take the Bedford for a spin. And I really enjoyed that guitar, but it didn't have enough like meat and punch to it. I grew up playing Les Pauls, a lot of heavier guitars. So as soon as we were in the showroom again, and I tried this one out, actually this one right here, the specific model, it was just like very solid to me, and it felt like it had the right tone, especially for our music. We do a lot of percussive stuff that has a lot of thickness to it, and this was able to fit the bill. And the tone knob is like, the tone knobs on both of them are really versatile. I mean, right now I just have it on one, but even when I put it on both, it's rare I can find a guitar where I don't just want to stick to one pickup or the other. This has really nice blending, which I really love. I'll be changing them like song to song, or at least that's what I've been experimenting with this tour, just because this has been such a versatile guitar tone-wise. So I mean, sometimes it'll just be cranked, sometimes it'll be all the way down. Like when we were sound checking rehearsal just now, there was a song called Ruminate that we have on our new record where all the guitars are just like, flow very much together, so I didn't want it to be too bitey, so I turned it down quite a bit. And so yeah, that's just been kind of what I've experimenting with night to night, song to song. These are just the D'Angelico stock strings. These strings have not been changed since I was given the guitar, and I honestly love them. You know, usually like we'll try to get higher gauge, so I think these are 11s. I might put 12s on it if it can handle it, but when we can, we go as high as possible, just again to get that thickness. We're not by any means like light, fluttery players. If it's like 9 or 10s, it's way too low. We always just go for the Dunlops 88 mil, 0.88 millimeter.
Yeah, so this is my 1998 Prs C24. This is a guitar I found in the corner of like a vintage shop a few years ago, and like instantly got it because I was like, I picked it up and I was like, this is my guitar, like I need to play this, I need to play it all the time. Basically, I mean, what I love about it is like its simplicity and its versatility. Like it feels like a guitar that like plays itself. First of all, it's like insane, like how easy it is to pick it up and start playing it, and it just feels like you're flowing all the time. And two is its versatility. It has like a 5-knob switcher on it, which gives a whole slew of different tones across the board, and they're all usable, they're all really flexible. And then I love the simplicity of a single tone knob. No matter what I'm switching to, I have one tone knob that affects everything. And then one volume knob, so I'm not just like, am I on this pick, like am I turning up this volume or this volume? Like I think those types of guitars get confusing sometimes, so I really like the really simple setup that it gives me, as well as the versatility that it gives me, so I'm always switching between them for different songs. And it is flexible, dynamic, and it just sounds good. It's like a very clean guitar. In terms of like noise, there's practically no noise on this ever, whether it's in the studio, whether it's in a live session or live stage. I did a wiring cleanup in it when I got it. The locking tuners are stock, like pickups are stock, and then I've just done like a lot of like tune-ups, like re-oils, like cleanup, stuff like that. I did change the switch on it. It was a little funky. And then I play it with 12s, so I did get the nut widened a little bit so I could fit 12s on it. Originally it didn't. It's like a thick bitey, I like how it gives it a really thick bitey tone. It gives it the sustain and like the warmth that sometimes you don't get with thinner strings, especially since we're playing all clean. We're not really doing any distorted tones ever. For our ears, I'm running just the Sennheiser G3s with the Westone 300s. I believe it's the 3-driver model. And these have been like a new upgrade for me. I was using the Sennheisers for, the Shure headphones for a while, and I just switched to these. I'm super, super happy with them. I think it gives me a lot more clarity, especially for singing vocals. Nothing feels too harsh or like underbalanced. Yeah.
And then yeah, I just have the same pack. I have the Sennheiser G3, and then I have the Shure headphones.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. Thanks for checking out the gear. We're on tour right now, promoting our new album Komorebi that came out in September. And come see us on the road. We have 10 more dates left. Across the East Coast, and then back to LA is where we end up.
Yep. Thanks so much.